Hey guys, I hope you're having a fantastic Monday. We are going to continue on with our new practice, our new rhythm of posting new content for you guys to engage with, new videos to watch, new things for you to take part in. We want to give you practices. We want to give you rhythms. We want to give you things that you can do, things that you can take part in that are going to help you grow in your faith. Because we believe that faith isn't just something that you think about. It's not just something that you show up and do once or twice a week, but rather it truly is a lifestyle. It's something that you are regularly doing. It is something that changes the way that you see the world, changes the way that you interact with other people. It changes everything about who you are. And in fact, we have experienced a lot of that this year, haven't we? We have experienced 2020 much in the same way that a lot of other people have. But for those of us who are Jesus people, for those of us who are followers of Jesus, we have a little bit different of a perspective. We know that this isn't the end. We know that this isn't the end of the world, and we have a hope. We have things that we get to look forward to. We have something that is coming that is far greater than what we're experiencing right now. But that doesn't mean that things are always great. And in fact, right now, as we are getting ready for the Christmas season, I don't know about you, our Christmas tree in the Holton household has been up since November the 8th. Thank you, being in quarantine, for getting those things moving quickly. But you probably drive around your neighborhood right now and you see a lot of people with their Christmas decorations up way earlier than they normally do. In fact, when did you put your Christmas decorations up this year? Was it before Thanksgiving? Was it on Thanksgiving Day? Was it after Thanksgiving? Let us know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys do for your Christmas traditions. But something that we often overlook about the Christmas season is actually the days leading up to it. Often there's a hustle and a bustle. There's a blur that happens with, especially this month of December, that just whizzes on and puts us all the way to Christmas Day. And it's like we missed it because we were moving so fast, trying to buy all of the things that we wanted to give to other people. We were trying to travel from this place to the next. Well, we might not be traveling as much this year thanks to a global pandemic, but nevertheless, December seems to rush on by. But there is this season that we have been practicing for the past couple of years since we have joined the South Fork family. It's a season called Advent. And Advent is all about waiting. In fact, Advent comes from the Latin word adventus, which means a coming. So Advent as a season becomes a season of waiting, a season of anticipation and expectation as we await our coming Messiah. Because thousands of years ago, God's people were waiting on a Messiah to come and set everything right. And now we're waiting again for Him to return, for Him to set things exactly the way that they are supposed to be in the world. But we're also waiting for Him to show up in the here and now. You often find yourself waiting for God to show up in your individual moments, for Him to show up in the ways that you need Him to. Because all of us have some kind of pain, some kind of tension point, some kind of pain point that we can't quite figure out. And we are longing for and waiting for God to set those things right. And that's what Advent is all about. So there are four main themes, four main aspects of Advent that we're going to talk about over the next 4 or 5 weeks. Those themes are hope, peace, joy, and love. Now, those might seem like just some big, overarching Christian ideals, but rather these are the core principles of what Advent is all about. Because we find ourselves longing for each one of these things in different ways in our world. And yet, the only one who will fulfill them is Jesus Himself. Jesus embodies what it means to be hopeful. Jesus embodies true joy, and He will give you pure joy. In fact, Jesus is love. We talk all the time about how John would describe in his letters that God Himself is love. And yet, we often find ourselves spinning our wheels, trying to find hope, peace, joy, and love in the world, and yet we never quite get there. So Advent can be a painful season. And it's interesting that Advent comes in the winter because we're waiting for spring. And we're waiting for things to start growing again, for things not to feel so gray and cloudy and cold. And yet, it's right in the middle of that season, right in the middle of the darkness, right in the middle of the pain that Jesus shows up. Because there were 400 years between the ending of the writing of the Old Testament and the time that Jesus came onto the scene. And this was a painful time. 400 years of no word from God. And you got to remember that God's people were so used to having a prophet, so used to having somebody speak God's words to them, and they went 400 years without them. Can you imagine what it would be like in our world today if we had no word from God, no message from Scripture, no nothing? So we find ourselves longing for Jesus, and then he shows up in the most unexpected way. The people were expecting him to come riding on a white horse, slaying his enemies, showing up as a king, and yet he showed up in the middle of weakness, in the most vulnerable way that he could, that as a baby. And he shows up in the middle of your moments as well. So today, as you long for the arrival of Jesus, as you long for the arrival of perfect hope and peace and joy and love, I just want to remind you that Jesus provides all of those things. So one thing that we are inviting you to be a part of over the next few weeks is take part in our daily Advent reading plan on YouVersion. You'll see a link in the description below this video that if you follow it, you too can join in on this simple daily reading plan called Practicing Advent. And I actually want to read one of the passages of Scripture from today's reading. Today is November the 30th, if you're watching this later on. And one of the readings that stood out to me the most was from Isaiah chapter 11. And it's the first 5 verses. So this is the word of the Lord from Isaiah chapter 11. A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. And he will delight in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide by what he hears with his ears, but by righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Righteousness will be his belt, and faithfulness the sash around his waist. And the entirety of the rest of Isaiah 11 is about the perfect peace, the perfect harmony that the world will experience when Jesus comes to set everything right. But Jesus isn't just coming to set the entire world right. He's coming to set your world right. So as you long for that today, I want you to know that we're longing for it with you. That as we walk through the Advent season, as we lead up to Christmas and the coming of our Jesus Messiah, we are walking through this season with you, and we would love for you to join us in this journey through Advent. We are hoping that you'll join us for the next few weeks as we continue talking about hope and peace and joy and love and what the Advent season is all about. We hope that you'll join us on our daily Bible reading plans, and we're praying that it will truly be a blessing for your souls and that you will be formed more into the person that God is calling you to be. Hey, we love you, we're praying for you, and we can't wait to see you again soon. Grace and peace, my friends.